Our topic now brings us to progressive supranuclear palsy. Progressive supranuclear palsy characterized by truncal rigidity and disequilibrium. There will be nuchal dystonia, which is dystonia mean contraction of the muscle that's taking place for a long period of time. Pseudobulbar palsy and abnormal speech, ocular disturbance, and here it's vertical gaze palsy, which is extremely important, and mild progressive dementia. The clinical pearl here is going to be vertical gaze palsy, progressive supranuclear palsy. It's onset between the 5th and 7th decades of life, and studies have shown that males and females could be or share equal preponderance. The pathology. So what's happening in progressive supranuclear palsy? Neuronal loss in the globus pallidus. Think about that for 1 second. Subthalamic nucleus substantia nigra, colliculi, periaqueductal gray matter, and dentate nucleus of the cerebellum. There's neuronal loss in many of these structures that we've identified here. Neurofibrillary tangles could also be found, but remember, neurofibrillary tangles is something that we find in every individual who gets older, elderly. Okay. However, if the patient starts showing you signs of Alzheimer's disease, then the number of neurofibrillary tangle is going to then correlate with the severity of the disease itself. Our topic here is corticobasal type of degeneration. Definition: it's the disease of the elderly, characterized by extrapyramidal rigidity, asymmetric motor disturbances, in other words, a multifocal type of myoclonus, and sensory cortical dysfunction. By cortical dysfunction, you should be thinking about higher order type of activity, including apraxia, disorder of language, and then here, alien hand type of phenomenon. All of this is referred to as being your corticobasal type of degeneration. Allow the name to speak to you. The pathology here would be cortical atrophy of motor, premotor, or perhaps even anteparietal lobes. Hence, we talked about the language disorder that might be taking place, and we talked about that alien hand type of phenomenon. Neuronal achromasia, severe loss of neuron gliosis, and ballooned neurons, corticobasal, balloon neuron. Substantia nigra and locus ceruleus show loss of pigmented neurons, and something that we refer to as being your organophilic type of inclusions. Corticobasal type of degeneration. Multiple systemic type of atrophy. It's a spectrum of diseases characterized by the presence of gliocytoplasmic inclusion, typically with cytoplasm of oligodendrocytes. So here, think about multiple system atrophy, the spectrum, and we'll talk about this a little bit moving forward. Clinical features. Well, here we have something called striatonigral type of degeneration. This, as you can expect very much so, will be movement disorder resistant to L-DOPA, because literally it's a destruction or degeneration of the nigrostriatal pathway. Atrophy of the caudate nucleus and putamen is involved. Nuclei show extensive neuronal loss and marked gliosis. Remember, gliosis always means the repair mechanism for the brain, doesn't it? And when we say repair mechanism in the brain, remember that we do not have fibroblasts in the brain, so therefore there is no scar formation technically. Yet we call it a glial scar, and we talked about this in general pathology, that glial scar, quote unquote, is a misnomer. And it's the fact that we do have microglia that are coming in to remove the debris, but gliosis to you should mean rather marked damage or that injury is taking place to the brain itself. Under multiple system atrophy, we have a couple other variants that I'll quickly walk you through. It's called Shire-Dragler syndrome. It's an extrapyramidal syndrome that combines your autonomic system dysfunction. So by this we mean that if you're lying in a supine position, where at this point you have increased blood flow to the heart, supine position, and then all of a sudden you go from a supine or even a sitting position to a standing up position, then you're going to pull your blood down in the legs very quickly. And if you have autonomic type of instability, then please understand that you're going to exhibit what's known as orthostatic hypotension. Impotence, your sweat glands, and in general, your glands are not working properly, and papillary abnormalities. Parkinson. Another type of multiple system atrophy with something called olivopontocerebellar atrophy. As the name implies, there will be cerebellar degeneration that's taking place. And as soon as the cerebellum is being affected, then you can expect there to be a type of ataxia, eye and somatic movement disorder, dysarthria, difficulty with properly writing, and then rigidity as well.